Nintendo games. We love them, and we know how much you all love them too. We've talked about Nintendo games time and time again and will continue to do so, but this time we wanted to hear more from you. Specifically, what you all feel is the best Nintendo game of all time. There were quite a few understandable repeats of timeless classics and some newer games from Nintendo, so let's get started. Grayson_GR and a lot of other users commented, Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild no doubt completely revolutionized the Zelda formula, but still paid homage to the game's roots. The original Zelda was all about exploring the world at your own pace, and that there was no wrong way to go. Breath of the Wild takes a similar approach, but on steroids. You can go to whichever region you want, or you could just not go to any of the areas and go straight for Hyrule Castle. Breath of the Wild offered players an insane amount of freedom with achieving their goals and navigating the world. Combined with the abilities such as Magnesis, it offered for creative solutions for completing shrines and divine beasts. And yes, while many have stated that Breath of the Wild's world feels empty, it is filled with contextual storytelling, specifically with how the calamity ravaged the land. The amount of destroyed towns and villages just shows how much of this once prosperous kingdom has fallen. That combined with the minimalist music you hear for the majority of the game adds so much tragedy but also life to the world of Hyrule. Appropriately following up is another game that was commented by Rick and many others, Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom easily. The things you can do defy gaming. I didn't think Nintendo could top Breath of the Wild, but they did. Tears of the Kingdom looked at Breath of the Wild and said, what if we gave even more freedom somehow? Not only do we have the land from Breath of the Wild, we also have the entire sky and depths to explore. But more importantly, Tears of the Kingdom innovated on the mechanics established in Breath of the Wild, with signature abilities such as Ultra Hand giving us almost unlimited freedom. Thanks to the Zonai objects found through the game, you could build whatever you pleased. A vehicle? Sure thing. An aircraft bomber? Go for it. Tears of the Kingdom also further combined the old with the new, bringing back the staple dungeons of old Zelda with the mechanics of new Zelda from Breath of the Wild and of course Tears of the Kingdom. Not to tear down Breath of the Wild, but Tears of the Kingdom makes Breath of the Wild look like a draft project for this game. That's how much Tears of the Kingdom innovated. Next up, Aiden posted, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's hard to choose one of my niche interests, but luckily they are all featured in this game in either fighter, stage, or spirit form. This perfectly encapsulates an aspect of Smash Bros. That I personally feel like is significantly overlooked. Yes, the Super Smash Bros. Series and Ultimate specifically is a blast of a platform fighting game that can be played either casually or competitively, but what I feel any Nintendo fan can appreciate about the Smash Bros. Series, and especially Ultimate, is how it's a celebration of all of Nintendo's accomplishments and the accomplishments of third-party companies that they've worked closely with for decades. Smash is almost like a convention or a food market where you can try a bit of everything, but it's Nintendo and their third-party companies are closely associated with them. Ultimate will likely introduce you to a game series that you've either never heard of or you're kind of familiar with, and it will want you to give it a shot. As Aiden said, they're all featured through a fighter, stage, or spirit, which gives you a sample of all these different games and what they have to offer in their actual games. I mean, the amount of Nintendo series I've gotten into from Smash is insane. Let's see. Fire Emblem, Metroid, Xenoblade, and then third-party ones like Metal Gear, which is now one of my top series. They do a great job representing these games, and it's not just shameless plugging either. They represent these games and series so faithfully to the point where the animations of characters are nailed to the T from their original games. Again, the entire Smash Bros. Series does this, but Ultimate truly is the ultimate game that showcases this. Moving on to a game just mentioned, Murilo posted, while not technically a first-party game, as a JRPG fan, I'm gonna stick with Xenoblade Chronicles. I like 2 and I'm in love with 3, but it was the first one that introduced me to this fantasy world and let Takahashi really pour down his ideas to action. While I can only speak for the first Xenoblade Chronicles, I can confirm that the Xenoblade games only get better the more you play. The Xenoblade series is filled with diverse biomes that give you so many different quests, and as a result give you a lot of time to get to know your party members a lot better. And the story of these games, without spoiling too much, are absolutely insane. Like I said, I've only played the first Xenoblade, but the further you play that one, the more insane the story gets and the more ambitious you see this game really is. And the music, oh my God, Xenoblade's music is insane. They got some legendary composers to work on this. We're talking Yoko Shinomura, who if you've played Kingdom Hearts, you'll definitely know who she is. Yasunori Mitsuda, who's best known for the Chrono series, and Hiroyuki Sawano, who's worked on a bunch of games and even some shows, including Attack on Titan. Yeah, this soundtrack is phenomenal. This soundtrack alone will get you into the game. Just so you know though, if you are going to start a Xenoblade game, free up time, and I mean a lot of time, because holy, these games are long. You've been warned. Going back to the Zelda series, Michael GR posted, "The Zelda games are amazing, but the latest titles haven't come close to Ocarina of Time for me." Ocarina of Time. I'm sure this game has a special place in many of our hearts. Ocarina of Time is one of the most significant Zelda games and just video games ever created. Many narrative staples of the Zelda series mythos started in Ocarina of Time and have only been refined and reiterated on in future titles. And for good reason. The feeling of progression in this game, seeing Link grow stronger as you progress through each dungeon, is such a satisfying feeling. And it all builds up to what is, in my opinion, one of the greatest final chunks in a video game, Ganon's Castle. More on that soon though, since we're talking about dungeons. All of the dungeons in this game are, excuse me, almost all of the dungeons in this game are designed flawlessly. I mean, the Forest Temple alone, like, need I say more? And once you make it past all of the dungeons, you get to Ganon's Castle, which is an amazing test of everything you've learned up to this point, revisiting previous themes of dungeons you experienced earlier in the game. And then there's of course the fight against Ganondorf and Ganon. We had a tennis match with Ganondorf and thought we were done? Oh, no. We were blown away by one heck of a final fight against Ganon. And lastly, Raphael posted, "Super Mario Galaxy is the flawless execution of everything Nintendo built up from the NES until the Switch." Now to be clear, Super Mario Galaxy of course debuted on the Wii, but was made available through the All-Stars collection on the Switch. That said, Super Mario Galaxy once again shows that Nintendo always makes us think that they've achieved the apex of Mario level design, and then surprise us with something insane like all of Mario Galaxy. It's hard to put a finger on why Super Mario Galaxy has such a unique feeling of satisfaction, but it goes to show that having amazing level design is not as easy as it seems. You just feel it as you play the game. It was made with so much love. Now I know I've talked about music a couple of times in this video, but Gusty Garden Galaxy. Yeah, that one song alone makes this soundtrack one of the greatest Mario soundtracks ever created. And that's saying a lot. And those were your picks for the best Nintendo game of all time. We'd love to hear more from you in the comments, so please feel free to let us know if you agree with people's choices, felt like we missed any games, or want to add on to what I or others said in the thread. This has been Bilal from Game Rant, and we'll see you next time.